The PodcastCoug, Season 1, Episode 2.
You're listening to the PodcastCoug Radio Network with your host, James Laurie. The PodcastCoug is your weekly Coug On Demand show featuring all things Cougs and Washington State Cougar football. And now, here is your host, PodcastCoug.
Hello, everyone. This is the PodcastCoug. I'm James Laurie, and you are listening to the PodcastCoug Radio Network. And this is Season 1, Episode number 2, actually. We are in the Week 10 of the Cougs and Washington State, and this is all things Cougar football, all things Cougs. And welcome back to Episode 2. Wow, here we go. So glad you're with us. You might know me as M.I. Coug on Wazoo Watch, or the former Coug Zone. I was of course, on that board I've been on the board for 15 years, and a moderator for 13 out of the 15 years on the Coug Zone, and then the Wazoo Watch. So, hello everyone, all my friends on Wazoo Watch. Glad you're back. We are on. This is actually the second episode for this season, and we're giving you on audio on demand, radio on demand. You could take this anywhere, right? You're at the beach, you're on vacation, you're at work, you are folding clothes, you're at the gym. Audio on demand, podcast, program on demand, Stitcher, iTunes, iOS, Android. You can find me on all these platforms, SoundCloud, and you name it, Google Play. All right, so we're everywhere, weekly, coming to you, where you know, about a 25, 30-minute program. We're dividing it into two. The first half, we're going to talk about Arizona. Second half, we're going to talk about California and the Golden Bears, right? So this really helps you get from the previous game day, right? The day after Sunday, all the way through the week, the following heading into Saturday's game. It helps you kind of get additional content in you to make you just to get to the next game, right? In the middle of the week, you're reading the press, you're reading the newspapers, local. Gosh, you're reading maybe the opponent's papers, press conferences, and there's only 3 or 4 podcasts out there, all right? And so here we are. This is the PodcastCoug. And so glad you're with us today and coming back for more. You can always subscribe and get it automatically sent to you weekly on an automatic basis. So here we are, Arizona, which the Wildcats, 69-7 drumming over Arizona. That was a boat race. Now, let's right off the bat, Arizona is not a good team. They are not a good football team. And by the way, I want to, first of all, what you're hearing is a sinus issue. It's not really a sinus infection, but it's a sinus issue. It's not a cold, so forgive me. There's no way I can literally, I try to sound better, but it's really sinus related. So I apologize for the effect here. But 69-7, Arizona boat raced. All right, we have not seen in 4.5 years of Mike Leach, year 5. With Mike Leach, he is not, from beginning to end, right, all the way from first quarter all the way through. We've been, I had posted on Wazoo Watch that I really, really wouldn't it be great to see Tyler Hillinkski come in on the fourth quarter. Well, he came in on the third quarter, 13 out of 15 passes, 2 touchdowns. Tyler Hillinkski, welcome. We finally got a chance to see a full quarter of Tyler. And this is great. This is what we've been hoping for. We've been waiting for a game like this for so long. Now, remember, Arizona is not. Rich Rod is not a good football team this year, anyway. They've had some success over the past couple of years. They are a basketball school. All right. Now, UCLA is also a basketball school, but I say, Arizona, Oregon State is better than Arizona. Okay, now they have been to some bowl games in the past couple of years, but this year they don't have it. They've got some injuries, issues. They're just not deep at all. Their talent level Darwin Hawkins, quarterback, he didn't play a full game. I mean, they really are in a rebuilding mode. So here we are, 69-7. Luke had a great game. He's healthy. He looks great. He had a great game. Gabe Marks, excellent game. River had a great game. Cole Madison had a great game. I mean, you just name it. We ran a lot of players played the fourth quarter, right? So, what a complete game. They really had fun. And here we are, number 23 in the AP Coaches Poll. All right, number 23 in the Coaches Poll, moving up from 25. Now, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the rankings. All right, we got Washington moved up. Now, Texas A&M lost to Mississippi State. Washington moves from number 5 to 4, rightfully so. And they look as better than I've ever can remember. All right, 1991, I was not following the Huskies, nor did I pay attention to them that closely. But this team, this product that Coach Peterson has out there is pretty darn impressive. Their corners, obviously they have fear. They're concerned about the Apple Cup. They're looking forward to the Apple. They're concerned, and just like we are. I mean. But we what an amazing outcome. I'll tell you, both of the North have undefeated conference schedules. Amazing. So Washington moves up from number 5 to number 4. Colorado is at number 12. They are 7-2. All right, 5-1. Utah, number 15. They are 7-2 and 4-2. And they move up to the number 15 spot. And guess who debuts at number 20? All right. Now, we were the 4th best team in the Pac-12 on paper, on computer. USC comes in at number 20th after their 45-20 win over Oregon. And they are, they are 6-3. And they beat Colorado. They have losses to Stanford, Utah, and, of course, Alabama, the number 1 Alabama. That was their opening game. So here we are at 7-2. If we had not lost to Eastern, to the Eagles, we would be in the top 15. Now, take a look at Boise State at number 22. Boise State is a very good football team, and rightfully so. Eastern Washington is having a great year. All right, but bottom line, we are at number 23. If we keep winning, it solves everything, right? Why focus on these polls, right? North, the conference game, the conference championship is going to come out of the Apple Cup. All right, so we have a really good shot at playing in the Rose Bowl since 2002. We have an upcoming record coming up. We're going to talk about Cal after the break. We have an upcoming record. Now, this is we've got a 7-game winning streak, and we've got a possibility if we beat the Golden Bears in Pullman for the primetime Cougs. That's 7:30 ESPN, another primetime evening game. Come on now. That's brutal. Only 26,000 tickets have been sold. They're expecting maybe 30,000 show up total. 8 games in a row. If we can put away the Golden Bears, last time we've had a win streak of 8 games was 1930. All right, 1930. All right. So, is California a trap game? We'll talk about that after the break. Let me see here. The Pac-12 North Championship. We have a shot at playing, obviously, the Rose Bowl. And, it's okay to talk about, this 1 week at a time. The players need to focus only 1 week at a time. We know that Gabe Marks is excited about the championship and about the Apple Cup because he's made comments about this. But this AC is looking to be extremely good. All right, if we run the table, day after Thanksgiving, we will have a 10-2 record and stand a chance of playing in the Rose Bowl for the fifth time in program history. All right. So, but we got to focus on Saturday. We're going to talk about the 4-5. That's the 2-4. They've only won 2 games in the conference. We're going to talk about the 4-5 California Golden Bears right after the break.
Hey, Coug fans. You're podcasting with James Laurie and the PodcastCoug Radio Network. The PodcastCoug is your weekly Coug on Demand show featuring all things Cougar football in Washington State. To help you get through the week, hit the subscribe button or check us out on iTunes, the App Store, iOS, Google Play, Stitcher, or at podcastcoug.com.
You are listening to the PodcastCoug Radio Network. I'm James Laurie, the PodcastCoug, and welcome back to part 2 of episode number 2. Hey, we're coming back from a Dad's Weekend. We forgot to mention Dad's Weekend, 69-7 Arizona. How about those dads? How many times, how many years have dads come over and we just get annihilated by the opposing team, whether it's in Arizona State, even in Arizona, a UCLA, USC come into town for Dad's Weekend, and we just get blown out, right? It couldn't have been a better Saturday, and it was warm. Really, no rain, beautiful, warm. Dad's Weekend that a lot of dads had a chance. How about those the Paul Wolf eras when we would lose and lose and lose and lose. And I felt sorry for the dads coming over for their they come over, you're sleeping on the couch or you're sleeping in the kid's bed, your son, your daughter's bed, and they're on the floor, on the couch or whatever. How many times have we lost, right? This Dad's Weekend, a 69-7 boat race, what we talked about. What a great Dad's Weekend. How about that? Well, we've got the Bear Raid coming, the California Golden Bears. And Davis Webb, the quarterback, and Sonny Dykes, right? Bear Raid versus the Air Raid, right? The stakes haven't been higher, and it really hasn't been like this for a long time. Being able to talk about this, and Gabe Marks is actually looking. He's so excited about this championship race. With Washington undefeated and the Cougs undefeated in conference play. This is why he opted to come back to Washington State for his senior season. Yeah, we're talking about Gabe Marks, who could have left for the NFL last year. All right? And Luke has that opportunity to go out and finish, just give it up after his junior year and head to the NFL. All right, apparently there's not a lot of NFL great prospects coming out of D1 football this year, or any college. There's like 4 or 5 that are really on a high radar, and Luke may be tempted, but look what Gabe did. He opted to stick around for a senior season instead of going to the NFL. Quoting Luke, he says, "I knew this team had the ability to be at this point right now." And that's really cool. Think about that. He says it's fun to be practicing in meaningful games in November. We're in uncharted waters, and we're going to keep going with that. That's Gabe Marks quote. Okay, and I'm going to say it's fun to be practicing to be in meaningful games in November. How about that? Both River and Gabe are seniors, and they won't be here next year. And we're going to have to reload. All right? We're going to have, so enjoy this while you can. We are bowl eligible. The bowls that that are out there. Airfares are all over the map. If we're going to the Rose Bowl, it's a lot more affordable to fly down to Burbank or Orange County or John Wayne or LAX than it is to go to San Diego or to San Antonio. All right. But that being said, we've got the Berkeley Bears coming to Pullman. I always call them the Berkeley Boys. And the Berkeley Boys are here Saturday for Primetime Cougs. That's 7:30. That's another night game, ESPN National Television. East Coast in their pajamas, 10:30 p.m. They're in bed, all right? The game's over at 1:30, 2:30 in the morning. Martin Stadium, I don't think this game's going to get out till midnight, 12:15. What a brutal drive. Just to get to Colfax is 45 minutes in bumper-to-bumper traffic. That could be an hour. Well, actually, no, attendance, 26,000 to 30,000 they're projecting. Now, Dad's Weekend, it was a sellout. Back-to-back Coug games in Pullman, it just doesn't even look close to selling out. Attendance projections as of Wednesday was 26 to 30,000. All right, so it may not take an hour to get to Colfax, but at midnight, 12:30 in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, just to get out of Colfax is just brutal. All right, it is brutal unless you're in an RV or you've got a hotel in the area. It's just brutal, and that's 7:30 game, and it's TV money, but it is what it is, and we're back to the primetime Cougs. Bear Raid. Now let's talk about Berkeley. All right, when I say the Berkeley Boys, really the game is played in Pullman, but this is what I call them, the Berkeley Boys. All right, the last couple of years, 2014, Berkeley. Right. Both teams featured 119 total points, which was a new NCAA passing yardage record. And it was a huge disappointment for the Cougs at the end. That's the 2014 game. That was in Pullman. What a disappointing game with 119 points total. Now, last year, we were down in Berkeley, and Cal came back, and they rallied with a 2-touchdown deficit to beat us in Berkeley, 34 to 28. That was a heartbreaker. All right. Cal plays us really well. It's never easy with Cal. Now, they do not have a good defense. All right. They simply do not have a good defense. They're certainly not as bad as Arizona or Oregon State. And California is 2-4 in the conference, 4-5 overall. They lost to the Huskies last Saturday. They got blown out 66 to 27. All right, so no defense whatsoever. I mean, their defense is just probably the worst in the Pac-12. All right, I would say they're probably worse than Arizona. Although Arizona was pretty bad, all right? So, but the Bear Raid, they're going to put up a lot of points. Now, when you say that, when you think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and sometimes it's just the opposite. And when you think it's going to be a low-scoring game, it's the opposite. You never know. You think you know, but you don't know, right? So whenever we play Cal, it's going to be it's always a heck of a showdown, all right? So for nearly 4 years, Cal fans have been enjoying this Bear Raid offense, which is a derivative, the Sonny Dykes era. It's a derivative of the Air Raid with Mike Leach. And although what we've got this year, of course, is our running backs, which are just incredible. We're talking about, the three guys right? James Williams, Jamal Morrow, Gerald Wicks. And, it's just the three of them are just great. They're doing so well. James Williams, what a great story, out of Burbank and his parents and the setbacks he had in his life. Similar to Luke, but actually worse. He was a homeless situation with his parents. Huge setbacks, and he's just a phenom. Great guy. I don't know about a phenom, but he's a great guy, and he's really talented. So we've got a ground game that Sonny Dykes doesn't necessarily have, right? And let's talk about the quarterbacks. We got Davis Webb's numbers are pretty good. They rank second in the country. Well, no, I'm sorry. Luke is, obviously the top in the whole. He's completing 74%. Now he's up there with Jake Browning as well in Washington, but he ranks second in the country in passing yards. And Davis Webb, California's quarterback, is doing very well as well. He's third nationally in passing attempts. So, and he's right after Patrick Mahomes from Texas Tech, right? So, Mike Leach stays true to his philosophy. He's passing 63% of his plays. Sonny Dykes, on the other hand, is roughly 60% our passes. So, Bear Raid versus Air Raid. We have a legitimate run for the Pac-12 conference. We won 9 games last year, and we are undefeated in conference play. And with Colorado, and the Huskies, and we're going to talk about. Literally, we are so close now, one game at a time for the players. But right now, we've got to get past California. And then we're down to Boulder, which is a whole different deal there. Boulder, I'm really concerned about. I don't think the California, I don't think Cal is a trap game at all. Okay? Now, the only way it could be a trap game if our players are thinking that they could just walk on water after they boat raced Arizona 69-7, they're in for a surprise. So no, and I think that Leach is going to have them ready for California. I am concerned about Boulder. I really am. I am very concerned about Colorado, although I think we could do it. And of course, the Huskies is a total different program and a different story. And so that's it. It's going to be a really exciting game. What do you got? We have a 14.5-point favorite for Saturday. Should be fun. Only 26 to 30,000. It won't be a sellout, which is unfortunate. And again, 7:30 p.m. ESPN. Lots of fun. You are listening to the PodcastCoug, and we're going to be with you back next week. Of course, you're going to find us in all formats out there. I'm so glad you had a chance to plug us in today. Have a great weekend, right? And we'll talk to you next week. God bless.
You've been listening to the PodcastCoug Radio Network with your host, James Laurie. The PodcastCoug is your weekly Coug On Demand show featuring all things Cougs and Washington State Cougar football. This has been a presentation of the PodcastCoug Radio Network. Find us at PodcastCoug.com.